Oh, everybody, welcome to our webinar today. Oh my goodness. How is everyone today? Just letting Zoom bring everyone on. Okay. So tell me, how are you doing? I want to hear where you're from. So good. Everyone's just coming on. So good. Right. So in the chat, oh, good to see you. Hey, Andy. Oh, so nice to see you. And you're from Phoenix. Oh my goodness. It must be so sunny and beautiful. Okay, where else are you all from? So good. I see some people I know, and I actually know where they're from, but it's always fun. Oliver, BC. There you go. British Columbia, baby. That's where I'm from. So good. All right, don't be shy. You can just share where you're from. It's all good. All right, so I'm going to introduce myself, and I'm going to let you know why this next hour is so important to you. Burnaby, BC. So good. This next hour is going to help you open your mind to solving why you are not getting the things done that you want to get done. It's going to be so helpful to you. I'm so happy you're here. This is a really good use of your time. So if you're here, it's because you have feelings about procrastination. Welcome to being a human, right? We all are at varying degrees of how we use our time, how we trust ourselves, and what's going on. So I'm going to introduce myself, and then I'm going to ask you to just rate yourself 1 to 10 of where you fall on the procrastination spectrum. So my name is Dara Thomason. I am the life coach for quilters. I am a certified weight and life coach from the Life Coach School. I work full-time helping women who are all quilters create a life that they really want to live. And so my focus is weight loss, but as I always say, weight loss is never really about the food. So we work through a lot of problems and issues. So I want to read a list. I've got my notes here. So so we're going to just think about, where are we on the procrastination scale? Why is it a problem? So today, my webinar, we're going to learn about why procrastination is a problem. You're not broken because you have it, and how I'm going to give you actual tools to start looking at procrastination and changing that story for yourself. I'm so glad you're here. So where are we? So I want you to think about this. So you have huge fabric stashes. You have amazing good intentions. You're super inspired by so many other projects. The eye candy is a little overwhelming. You're kind of discouraged because you don't get as much done as you want. You spend a lot of time on social media getting ideas and inspiration. You're pretty quick to start new projects, but not as confident with being able to finish projects. You spend time comparing and despairing what others complete. You feel a little bit frustrated at how much other people get done, and then you compare yourself to them. You have lots of tools because you buy all the things, but you're not as good at using them. And so you use that against yourself. So in the chat, how much do you relate to that? How many of those relate to you? And you don't have to, excuse me, you don't have to admit it in the chat, but I would encourage you, first of all, to turn off your phone. I want you to not have any distractions. And I really want you to allow your brain to focus on what we're doing right now. So that's the first thing. I do recommend you having a journal, some paper and a pen to write down things that I'm going to say that really trigger you. Either trigger in a bad way, like what is she talking about? Or, oh my gosh, so good, Andy. I'm so glad you're here. Or is there something that you really have taken away and you're going to change? Because I promise you, at the end of this hour, you will have practical ways of doing this. And I have a very special bonus at the end of this webinar about my pop-up group that you do not want to miss. Absolutely not. And the irony of me, offering a class on procrastination and having people sign up is not lost on me. Okay. I get it. But this is one of those things where you have to say, and I'm actually going to use a tool to help you to do that today. Okay. So now I want you to hear, so then where you put on the scale, think about that. Now the next one is, I want you to ask yourself, why do you think you procrastinate? And I'm going to leave that open to you. Oh boy. Like, I want you to get really curious. And actually in the chat, I would really be interested to hear, why do you think you procrastinate? So while you're doing that, I'm going to read off all the reasons I've heard. Yesterday, I had a very special FaceTime with Lisa Bonjean in her Stitched group. And you all shared a bunch of them. And these are the ones that I have. So this is a combination. So I really want you to pay attention. They get really inspired by all the beauty and they want to do it also. There is an amazing community. You feel connected to others. It's a belonging place. You have natural desire to create, right? We really do. We love quilting and we love being creative. We identify as a quilter and like to be connected to the quilting world. We're torn between the version of ourselves that wants the completed quilt and the fun and feedback with the other version of us who just wants to stay on the couch. And it's because, so that is where, this is why we are here. The other reason why we're here and procrastinating is we're not happy with how it turned out. We feel we feel like we can only create at the right time. We are overwhelmed by unfinished projects. We're stopped by a problem. We come across something, we don't feel we're really good at it. We lose focus and move on to something else. We're afraid to mess up. We have a hard time making a decision. We wait until everything is done so that then we can feel like we relax. By that time, we're so tired, we don't have the bandwidth to do it. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later too. Time and energy. We have a difficult time prioritizing ourselves. We're worried about meeting other people's expectations. So we really worry about what other people think of us rather than what we think of ourselves. We feel like there's not enough time in the day. So there's a lot of scarcity around time. We got to get sick of a project. It kind of drags on. It's not going as well as we'd like. So it feels a little bit tough. We have a lot of compare and despair, right? We look on other people's, we see what they do. I really like the example that Lisa gave yesterday. She has been doing this a long time. This is her job. She is very efficient. Not only is she really efficient, but she hires other people to do the things. So yes, she is a workhorse. She gets a lot done, but she also has a lot more resources to get other people to do things for her. We also have anxiety and we always expect to get more done. So then we have disappointment. Okay. So in that description, I want you to tell me in the chat if you can relate to those. Yes or no? I want to hear it. So good. And when you bring it in the chat, of those things, then you don't have to share this part, but so yes or no, do you relate to all of those? Come on, ladies, I don't see you in the chat. There we go. Keep going. I want to hear it, but I want you to, as I'm talking, I want you to really start paying attention to what is this for you? Okay, because I want you to know, I am a life coach. A life coach helps you see what's happening in your thoughts. And so as you are watching this webinar, I want you to be engaged in this webinar. I want you to be actively thinking. I don't want you just to be sitting back and taking it all in. I literally want you to be interacting with me. I want your brain to be engaged, because this is how you're going to make change, is allowing yourself to, like, okay, I hear you, Dara. So I procrastinate because of overwhelm. I feel so busy that I never create a place for peace. Absolutely. And as we're going to talk about that a little bit later, but overwhelm leads to inaction. Okay. So when we spend a lot of time in overwhelm, we do not get things done. That is just the way it is. Overwhelm leads to inaction or little tiny actions that don't really matter. Okay. So that is the problem. So where do you want to be? So I had a big old list here. So where do you want to be in your life? So I want you to that we want to be super productive, finishing projects all the time. We want to be able to use our stash. We want to say that when we create, then we'll be able to do it. So I'm going to do this for 2 hours, and I know that I'm going to do it. So we have trust in ourselves. Exactly. I justify time on the couch because I need a mental break. Right. That is something that so many people fall into, Andy, that they think they're going to do self-care time is watching Netflix. No, the problem with that is you are not taking care of yourself. You're literally just putting your life on pause. So when you lay on the couch and watch 2 hours of TV, you're not really taking care of yourself. You're just pausing the problem that you have. And then when you go back. So self-care really is planning ahead of time how you're going to take care of yourself. So you could say to yourself, the difference is you could say, I'm going to watch a movie with the kids, or I'm going to watch a movie with my husband, and I'm just going to let myself relax. And so the intention is I'm letting my body relax. I'm letting my brain just, rather than press pause on the stress and the difficulty. And then as soon as that movie is over, because probably chances are, if you're using that time, that's a buffering, you're avoiding a negative emotion. And so you're not actually dealing with the problem that you're trying to press pause on. Okay. So really, really helpful. So you want to use your stash. You want to say that when you complete some things, you want to trust yourself, complete every project you work on, or make a decision that that project wasn't for me and feel really purposeful of saying, yeah, bye-bye. You want to share on social media and feel very connected to all the other makers. You want to be happy all the time in your life, feeling calm and collected. And you want to feel like you have figured it out and not have any negative emotions. This is where you want to be. You also want to imagine your dream relationship with procrastination. So I want you to really think about, where do you want to be? And this is a really good question. Where do you believe that you could actually get there? So one of the things that I ask my clients when they hire me for weight loss, I say to them, do you even believe it's possible? And so many of the women that come to me, like, I am their last hope. But if they don't believe that it's possible, there's nothing I can do to help them do that. They have to work on their belief. Okay, so what have you tried? I want to hear this. What have you tried? So we've got willpower. We have compare and despair. We have commitment. We're going to I'm going to commit to this no matter what, and give ourselves very strict guidelines. Okay. We have this punishment and reward system. How many of us have done that? It's like, okay, you can't buy any more fabric until you get this project done. Why doesn't that work? We wait for something to be done so we wait for the house to be cleaned before you can create. We wait for the new sewing machine before you create. We wait for the long arm, or we wait for the husband to retire. You wait for yourself to retire, right? How many times have we done that? This is a conditional relationship that we have. We try to ignore negative emotions. So we try to Pollyanna our way through. So the problem with that is, when you're trying to Pollyanna your way through and you're trying to ignore all those negative emotions. So when the negative emotions come, you spend a lot of time avoiding and resisting those, and then you're never going to get the results. I always said I would use spring break and summer vacation as the time when I would get my sewing room organized. Never happened. That's right. Because you didn't earn trust with yourself. You didn't have expectations, all of that. Okay. So the other thing that we do is we try to focus on circumstances being the problem. So that was the perfect example. So Andy was saying, I can't do this right now because I am working. So I have to wait for the summer holidays, and I have to wait for Christmas break, right? Yeah, spring break. And so she was waiting for a circumstance being the problem, but it wasn't that. It was the way she organized her time. That was the problem. So we blame others. And we also, the other thing that we try is we do a lot of people pleasing. And we think that when we can help other people, then we can feel better about ourselves. So these are a lot of things people have tried. You probably have tried some other things. We do a lot of crazy stuff. Okay. Is there any ones that I missed? I would love to hear it. Okay. So when you look at that, why haven't you arrived yet? So in the procrastination recovery, why haven't you? So these are some of the reasons. And as I'm reading them, I really want you to think about you personally, why this hasn't happened for you. So one of the problems we have is we're very unconscious of our thoughts. So if you get at the end of your day and you're talking to yourself or your husband or whoever, and they say, "Oh, how was your day?" And you're like, I don't really know. So if you find that you don't really know what you were doing that day, you're unconscious. You're really living a lot of unconsciously. You're letting the lower brain take over. Okay. And the lower brain, I call it the toddler brain. We're going to talk a little bit about it later on. But so if that's happening to you, that's all that's happening, is that you're letting the lower brain take over and you're not being the driver of your own life. That's all. That's what's happening. The next one is you're not allowing negative emotions. So one of my clients, she calls it ricochet rabbits. And how I like to think about it as, or like a pinball or whatever it is. So you've got a negative emotion. So you're going in a direction, you're like, oh, I can see a negative emotion. And it's like, retract, ricochet, let's not go there. And so the whole time we're trying to avoid it. It's like me with when I took piano lessons. I didn't like flats and sharps. They seemed very overwhelming and intimidating to me. So as I was picking the song that I was going to play, I would look at how many flats and how many sharps. If they had too many flats or sharps, I wasn't even going to try it. So this is what happens to us with negative emotion. We're like, oh, that looks really dangerous. That looks like really bad. I'm just going to avoid that altogether. But what we end up doing is ricochet rabbits, right? We just go from one thing to the other thing to the other thing, and we never actually get anything done, and we don't ever really feel accomplished. So did you know that Facebook and Instagram, they paid people like hundreds and millions of dollars to have us keep in this avoiding and resisting mode because they want us to stay on our screens. Okay. So they don't want us to feel negative emotions. And then, so don't feel bad if you're spending more time on social media. They have really spent a lot of money and effort to keep us on there. Okay. So yeah, so nothing can be negative. Now, one of the other reasons why you haven't arrived is because your growth, any growth in any way, requires effort and discomfort. So anytime we want to grow, anytime we want to change our story, it has to require some sort of effort and discomfort. That's just the way humans are, right? If we stay in our comfort zone, we will never evolve and change. So we have to be willing to have some discomfort to go for it. So when we do that, we actually are learning to troubleshoot, problem solve. And this is one of my favorite things I teach my clients is we fail, we learn from that, then we try again, we fail, and then we grow. And we just keep doing that. Learn, fail, grow, manage our expectations, all of that. That is what we do. That is how my clients lose weight, keep it off, and have more joy in their life because they learn that failure is actually amazing. Because all failure is I thought I would finish this thing in this amount of time, but you didn't. And so it's not a failure. It's just you had an expectation. You just kind of guessed, like, I think it'll take me this many hours to make this quilt. But you didn't anticipate that the half square triangle thing was going to be a real problem for you. And you didn't realize that, your iron was going to break or whatever. Okay. So we just had to adjust the time. It wasn't a failure. It was an adjustment. Okay. Then the other reason why you haven't arrived with procrastination is you have this inner battle between your future self and your current self. So James Clear, he talks a lot about that in his book, and it's been very, very interesting. Okay, so this is all that's happened. Welcome to being a human. So I'm going to explain to you the process of learning how to be a person who does not spend as much time on the couch feeling overwhelmed. I'm going to explain to you how to be a person that can get more done and feel more accomplished. So we have this concept, discomfort now or discomfort later. So I'm going to introduce you to 3 different characters. Now, this is from a TED Talk by Tim Urban. It's called the Master Procrastinator. It is a hoot. It's really quite funny. And so all of us have this in us. It's called the instant gratification monkey. So I like to think about those little monkeys, with the little peddler, the organ, and he has his little clapping hands and he's like, I just want to have fun and do things all day and have fun. Okay. So he's the instant gratification monkey, or I could say she's the instant gratification money. I just want to spend the money and watch Facebook and have a clean house and all of that, right? I never want to have any problems or any obstacles anytime. And then there's the rational decision maker who says, well, in order to be a human, an adult with a house and have a car and all the things, we have to be willing to, clean toilets every once in a while. And we have to pay bills and we need to, like all of that. That's the very rational decision maker. Now, there are 2 different types of procrastination. There's the deadline panic procrastination. So think about that. Of all of you, okay, I want to hear, how many of you have done a quilt along? Or actually, not so much a quilt along, but a block swap. Okay? Block swap. Who's done block swaps? Why are block swaps awesome? Because they have deadlines. And so we have this thing called, swapper here. Oh, so fun. Block swap. And so block swaps, how fun are those? And the issue with the block swap is you do have a number. You have it like a date that you have to get done by. So you kind of, sometimes you're doing it late at night. I've been there. So the problem is we have a panic monster. So the panic monster is the guardian angel of the instant gratification monkey. Right? Because there's 2 different kinds of, that's right. I love it. Quilt along, sew along, block of the month, all of it. Okay. So there's 2 different kinds of procrastination. There's the type of procrastination that has a deadline, like a block swap. And some of the block of the months, like some of the shop owners will do, I know one of my clients, she can't get the next block until she brings in the finished block. Okay, so different shops have different ways of doing things. The other type of procrastination is there's the non-deadline, so it just extends forever. So even in your own life, you don't have to, this is not a confessional, but I want you to think about how many unfinished projects you have and why they're still sitting there, and even thinking about the stress of that for you. I have a friend, Cheryl Arkeson, she teaches quilting. She's really fabulous. And she has 50 unfinished projects at one time. And she has no problem with it. She has this list. She loves it. It's like her thing. But that's just the way she rolls and she loves it. But so many of us have unfinished projects and we beat ourselves up thinking, what's wrong with me? All of that. So just get really curious of what, so there's the 2 different kinds of ways that we can procrastinate. And we have this situation where all of us have some level of, I just want to be happy all the time. I don't want to have to do all the things and then we have the rational decision maker. And then we have the panic monster that kicks into gear if there's a deadline. Okay, I'm close to Cheryl's number. Never finished the second ever quilt I started back in 2004. Okay, so then that's a circumstance. What are your thoughts about it? All right, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to talk a little bit more about this discomfort now or discomfort later. So the next, actually, I'm going to just back up a minute. So in this, James Clear talks about procrastination being our future self. She wants to be thin. She wants to have an organized house, and she wants to have a lot of completed quilts. She might also want, like, there's lots and lots of things, right? So our future self says, oh, that looks amazing. That quilt was so beautiful. That Dara's program sounds amazing. I totally want to lose weight. Like, I'll feel so much happier. I don't have to have that surgery. I don't have to have all this guilt. I don't have to feel stuck all the time, right? Like, there's all these things that we want, even like a dream house or whatever it might be, a certain car. You're like, oh, that sounds really great. So the future self, she makes all sorts of decisions for us. The problem is, current self, she kind of, when she wakes up, she's like, I kind of just want to watch a show. Or I kind of just want to scroll on Facebook for a while. And I kind of just want to eat whatever looks yummy. Like, I kind of just want to drive in my car. And if I see like a McDonald's or something and I just want it, I just want it. So the current self, though, is the one who has to create the future self. So we've got a problem between the current self and the future self. And future self is like, no, you really want to finish the quilt, and look, it's so much fun, and you can share it on Facebook, and it seems to be so great. But then current self at like 10 in the morning, who hasn't gone for her walk yet and hasn't, done the things that she's supposed to do, she just feels like kind of beat up, and she feels like really discouraged, and she just kind of sits on the couch for a while. And then she has like, well, I'm retired now. I can do that later. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's seeing me. It's COVID. And then we have the excuse monster. Okay. I like to ask my clients, is it an excuse or is it a reason? There is a big difference between an excuse and a reason. Okay. So I want you to ask yourself, where do you fall in? And then, of course, the current self, she has to get closer and closer to the future self by her actions. Okay. So that what I do with my clients and in my program is I take current self and then I get a really clear idea of my future self. So like, for example, in my weight loss program, I guarantee 12 pounds down in 12 weeks. And then you learn the process of how to keep doing that. Okay. So what I'm doing is I'm actually shortening the gap between the patterns that current self does during the day to become more aligned with a future self girl who wants to always have the clean house and the skinny body and the finished quilts. So this is the problem. We can have, as we go to discomfort now or discomfort later, we have to expect pushback. Right? Because I just want to be happy all the time, instant gratification monkey. That's like in our wiring, okay? Because listen, our wiring, like our toddler brain, and actually our survival brain, like when we first came to this world without grocery stores and houses with with security systems, it really was in our best interest to seek pleasure, right? Eat as much as possible because we never know when our next meal is going to come. It really did help us to conserve energy because it was like, we don't know when you're going to get your next meal. So we should do the same thing over and over again. We should have habits. We should not move as much because when you move and do things, you're going to expend more energy than you need. And we don't know when there's going to be more energy. So it actually really served us to conserve energy before. Okay. And avoid pain. Yes, that was very important. Because when you avoided pain, you knew that like, so for example, let's say a fire. If you had a fire, you're like, oh, you better not burn, because if you burn, that actually like wrecks your hands, your skin. Or if you went in too cold of water, you would freeze, right? So these things are actually super helpful. They kept the human race to survive. But the problem is now we have a lot of food and we have safe homes. We even have a vaccine for a pandemic. And we have safety in place. We have social distancing and masks, and we have ways to even help people even during a pandemic. Like, we're so smart. So the higher brain activities, we're like future focused, right? We're thinking of that rational brain. Like, yes, I want to go to work because when I work, I make money, and then that money helps provide for my family, and we have security, and we have a home, and we have heating and all those things. Okay. We also have the ability to have big picture. We can say, oh, I see, maybe I don't want to go to work right now, but when I have the big picture of, like, my retirement and all of that, I have safety and security, so I should do that. Okay. And the other part about what the higher brain can do is we also really understand the difference between cause and effect. And I should put the other thing that we can do, and what I do as a life coach is I help you think about your thinking. So if you come to me and you say, Dara, I've just been trying the same thing over and over again, it's just like same old, same old. It's because you haven't figured out the thought that's causing you, like a thought error or whatever it is, because you just keep getting the same results and you're not happy with them. Okay. So when we are in our higher brain, we can start accessing what thoughts are working for us and what thoughts aren't working for us. Whereas here, basically, it's survival mode, which can be very helpful when you don't have houses and grocery stores and stability of food. We have evolved, and so we need to train our brain to be evolved with it. So when we think about discomfort now compared to discomfort later, we are really able to see what brain we're working from, and we're able to see what results that we're getting. So we are going to expect some pushback. Of course, it's like, I don't want to clean toilets. I just want to seek pleasure and conserve energy, and I want to avoid pain. But, cleaning toilets is kind of like big picture, right? Do I want to have a clean house? Cause and effect. It's like, okay, I'll spend 10 minutes cleaning a toilet, and then I'll be over, and then I'll be okay. And so that's the two parts of our brain. So when you understand that, that makes a lot more sense, right? Now, the next thing that I need to remind us all is that we have about 60,000 thoughts a day. And I like to think about thoughts like they just come, they're like in little thought bubbles. And then we just get to decide what thought is going to serve us and what thought's not going to serve us. So the problem is our thoughts eventually create our results. And when you come to my pop-up group or work with me, you're going to learn this amazing thought model that actually shows us how real that is. Our thoughts, they say you are what you think. It truly is. So I'm teaching you how to be conscious so that you can think about your thoughts and you can decide what thoughts you want to keep and then what results. So the other thing about discomfort now or discomfort later that we have to consider, so even with that, we have thoughts that don't serve us, and we have to just be willing to be conscious to say, oh, that thought doesn't serve me, and we can just let it go. Or we can say, no, sorry, bye-bye. Okay. And then the other thing that we need to do to really work through this discomfort now or discomfort later is we have to recognize when we're feeling a negative emotion and when we're feeling a positive emotion. We have to eliminate the ricochet rabbits, because if we're always avoiding a negative emotion, we're actually disallowing the positive emotion, because we need to recognize the negative in order to have the positive. So for example, we cannot actually experience joy if we have nothing to compare it to. So if we don't have pain, then we don't know if we're having joy. So law of nature. So if there's no light, we don't know if there's dark. Okay. So if we don't have sadness, we don't have happiness. We have nothing to compare it to. Okay. Are you with me? This is like so much. It's Janet. I haven't finished my first quote from 2000. Janet, you can do it. I know you can do it. You have the skills. Okay. So one of the things with what I just was talking about was it's really important to feel. So at the life coach school where I went, Brooke Castillo says, she's the owner, let's just get good at feeling negative emotions. Let's just get good at feeling terrible. And this is why. because the better we get at it in the short term, the more amazingness we create for ourselves in the long term. So discomfort now or discomfort later. We cannot hijack it, okay? So we could just decide to clean the bathroom and not love doing it. We could just decide to be in whatever emotions we experience and do it anyway. And that's what I typically recommend in a situation like this, because we sometimes sit around doing thought work all day as though we're working on it, but the bathroom is not any cleaner in the meanwhile, okay? So we can spend a lot of time trying to change our thoughts, or we can just decide, I'm gonna do this. All right, next point. We have stuck pain or stress, and we have progression pain or stress. So we can have discomfort now or discomfort later. Now I'm just gonna go down to this little analogy here. So we can have ease now. So having a messy house, unfinished quilt, and not the body that we want, or we can have ease later. So we can have the clean house, we can have the completed quilt, and we can have the body we like. So the problem is when we have the ease now, it's seemingly ease now, right? It's like, I'm just gonna lay on the couch, I'm just gonna like watch my favorite shows. I probably need to binge watch all of Anna Green Gables or whatever it is, right? That's some ease now, but this is what it's gonna look like. You're gonna still have the messy house, you're gonna still have the unfinished quilt, and you're not gonna have the body you want. Or you can just say, yeah, I don't really want to clean those toilets, or I don't really want to figure out that problem that I messed up and unpick all that stuff and redo it. And I don't want to, work on my body and just kind of disappear from my thoughts and just buffer all the time. Or we can have this. Now, one of the things that happens is we have stuck stress or pain or progression pain. This is such an amazing topic. So when we are in stuck stress, so I have a coach that I really love. Her name is Jody Moore, and she talks about clean pain and dirty pain. It's very similar. So when we're stuck, we kind of get future focused. We catastrophize everything. It's like my daughter last night was really upset because she's not doing as well in chemistry, and she's like, I'm never gonna graduate. I'm never gonna get a university degree. I'm just gonna live in the streets. And I'm like, this is just one test. Okay. So we get so panicked and we catastrophize everything. It grows in intensity, right? We just build and build and build more. Like, I'm never going to accomplish this. This is never going to be good. I'm always going to be stuck here. It really blocks our genius. And so this happens a lot, I see with my clients on guilt. So guilt blocks their genius and they really can't move past it, and they can't get to a place where they can solve the problem. There's a lot of self-pity that happens here, a lot of resentment, a lot of confusion, blame and shame and overwhelm. So this kind of stuck pain, so that's like this is like the ease now, like seemingly ease now. This keeps us stuck. Or we can go to the progression pain, where we can just say, it's intense, but I can tolerate it, because we've recognized it, right? We're like, oh boy, I really got myself in a pickle. I didn't starch my fabric, and then I cut it out, and then I starched it, and then it shrunk, and so it's ruined. I have to now go order more fabric. Okay? So you're like, oh, it's annoying. I can't believe I did that. But it's like, I can tolerate it. I can solve some problems, because with progression pain, it's like, I'm determined to finish this quilt. I'm going to do this. It's tough, but I'm going to do it. Curiosity. This is one of my favorite ways. This is probably one of the main emotions that has created this body and the business that I have, is just being able to be in curiosity, because I'm doing things I've never done before. But if I can be curious and I'm not judging myself, it's way better. And then courage. Courage is another one of my superpowers. Okay? Because I know another example, hanging on to things because we spent lots of money on them. Absolutely. So we stay like that self-pity, that's resentment, that's confusion, blame or shame, right? Lots of shame, like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. You second guess yourself. You feel really overwhelmed. It's really a terrible feeling. Okay. All right. So why this works. Imagine this is a cell phone battery. Okay. I'm like, I don't know if people can tell it's the battery because you have the little thing on the thing. Okay. So here we have the battery. So this is the thing, everyone. Every day we start with a charged battery, a cell phone battery. It is a limited amount. We have a limited amount every day. So I like to call this my brain juice. I only have so much brain juice. So we have examples of like really famous people who wear like the same clothes every day. What's his name? Steve Jobs. He wears like a black shirt and jeans. I think he has like 20 of them. But he's like, I do not want to spend my brain juice on deciding what I'm going to wear. He's like, I have more important things. I was in a podcast and she was talking about Elon Musk, and he was going to build this amazing, beautiful house for himself. And then he realized how much time he was going to like get, just like he's going to be really excited about it. But he realized, I'd rather spend my mind juice, my time and energy getting people to the moon than being obsessed with this, building this amazing, ginormous house for myself. Okay. So we truly do have limited brain power every day. And the problem is we can spend our time with low value energy or high value energy, or high value activities and low value. So low value is like being in overwhelm, being in indecision, being in perfectionism, being in perfectionist habits, being in blaming or shaming. Are you spending a lot of time excusing yourself, finding excuses? These are low value ways of spending your energy. They are not going to get you what you want, and they are depleting your battery because you only have so much time every day. Or are you you're like, I'm decided, I'm committed, I'm trusting, I'm resourceful, I'm open to emotion. So when you commit to something, instead of like, oh, should I have done that? What was I thinking? Oh, this is too much of an investment. I don't know. What happens to you? By the end of the day, you're like, I don't even know what I completed, because you're spending all your time over here and not over here actually finishing what you're doing. Okay. Second guessing yourself, all of that. All right. So what can you expect when you apply the principles that I taught in this course today? So the skills, you can learn how to filter your thoughts. You're going to expect to get more done. You're going to expect to feel happier. You're going to expect to not buffer as often or not at all. You're going to expect to save money. You're going to expect to lose weight. You're going to expect to improve relationships, and you're going to expect to complete more projects. Isn't that fun? Don't you all want that? Because these are the skills you're going to develop. Now, when I talk about this, yes, I am a weight loss coach, but section 8 in my program is dedicated to the triple P: perfectionism, people pleasing, and and procrastination, of course. And in fact, I've discovered after the first time I taught this program that I needed more than just one section on those three. So that is why I created the Perfection Recovery Program. So it's right here. And we are going to actually do the quiz and really like dive into this a little bit more in the pop-up group. But I literally had to write an entire 12-step recovery program because this is so pervasive in all my clients. Even Lisa yesterday was kind of like, I didn't realize that perfectionism is a very misunderstood concept. It's plaguing so many of us, and it's all related to people pleasing and procrastination, I promise. Okay. So you're going to eliminate people pleasing. I call it the triple P, because what you think about you is the most important. You're also, the skill developed by working with me in my program is and using, not even just working with me, but even using that skill that I talked to you today about with discomfort now or discomfort later. Just that one concept is going to help you create these skills. If you practice that over and over, you're going to make goals and feel more confident achieving them. You're going to understand real pleasure. You're going to have more time management. You're going to honor your time management. You're going to become more authentically you. this is a great discovery that so many of my clients, they come to me, they don't even really know who they are because they have spent so much time being a wife, being a mother, being an employee, being a daughter, being a sister. They haven't learned, and because they've spent so much time in the people pleasing and caring more about what other people think of them than themselves, even procrastination and perfectionism, they are learning how to like figure out who they are. So then they start becoming more authentically them. And then they eliminate the not good enough story and the blaming other people. That is a skill that you're going to develop even in discomfort now or discomfort later. You're going to build that skill. Okay. All right. So that is my free training for today. Isn't that exciting? Do you not feel like so energized? Discomfort now to discomfort later. And I really love, because we're all visual, right? We're all quilters. My husband said, you could let a non-quilters in. I'm like, of course they would. Everyone's welcome in my program, but quilters will just get more out of it. So even this visual for you now, he's now laying on the couch or scrolling Facebook, just means you still have the messy house, you still have the unfinished quilt, and you don't have the body that you're really comfortable in. Or you can have ease later, which means you put in some work and you have the clean house now, you have the completed quilt, and you have the body that you want. So you need to get out of the stuck pain, and you need to learn how to spend more time in progression pain. That is such a big message. And we have the instant gratification monkey. That's just part of who we are because of the way our brain is wired. And it's okay because we can learn how to go more to the rational decision maker, and we don't need to have the panic monster being our guardian angel anymore. We can just learn to trust ourselves and like the skills I just taught. So that is what I wanted to really share with you. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. This was 47 minutes. That's all I could do. So I knew that this is such a big problem for people that I have created a 4-day pop-up group. So this group is called Break the Procrastination Barrier, How to Get More Done and to Be Happier. So in this group, the doors will open on Saturday. We have some really fun ways to get to know each other, some great ways of working together and get to know each other a little bit better on Saturday and Sunday. And then class starts Monday, April 26th. It's going to be at 10 o'clock Pacific, 11 Mountain, noon Central, and 1 Eastern. And so I'm going to have class Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. All of the classes will be recorded and they will be put in the Facebook group. You will have access to those for a week. Okay. And you will be able, I have a beautiful workbook, and we're going to go through we're going to go a little bit deeper into why procrastination is a problem. I'm going to talk about the 6 stumbling blocks of procrastination. I am going to teach you my real tools that I teach in my life coaching practice during that time. And I'm going to give you ways to actually work through them. So my background is I was a public school teacher for 10 years, and I taught quilting for 5 years. So I've taught children, I've taught adults. I have a very good understanding about curriculum, and I am a certified life coach. I have been doing this full time for now over a year. So I really am understanding the human brain. And I understand the quilter. And I work with women. So I have had a one-on-one practice, and now it's filled up, and we had, waiting lists and all of that. So now what I have moved to is having more groups so that I can help more quilters, more women create the life that they really want. Okay. So to get a flavor for what it's like to have a life coach, I am offering this pop-up group. And the reason I have a $7 fee for it, normally a course like this would be a lot more. But I want to offer you value ahead of time so you understand what this is all about and you don't have the same level of fear. Okay. So you can go in the email, you'll be getting an email. So has anyone on here already signed up? I want to hear it. So just say in the chat. Oh, Nancy has. Who else has? Pam has signed up already. Who else has signed up? Just put it in the chat. I don't know if you can hit your hand. Oh, Kay is in. Maury, Deb. Oh my gosh, who else is in here already? Kay. Oh, so good. Do we have others? Okay, I'm gonna ask you. Okay. Oh, Diana is so good. So good. Okay, I want all of you to sign up. It's $7. Okay. So it's Eventbrite. If you have, I do have it on the email. Oh, so email is the way to get signed up. I have a link for you, Peggy. And so are you on my email list, Peggy? So actually everyone that's on this webinar, I will send an email with the link. Yes. So there is a little, it's called Eventbrite. If you go to my if you go to my Instagram, on my Instagram, I have, it's, I'll just quickly show you. So here's my Instagram page. You got to go to my Instagram. You got to follow me. It's so fun. I have so many cool things on there. I always give really great stories every day. And so underneath my profile on my Instagram, there's this little like blue highlighted one. So you press on that. And in here has all of the things that you can register for. So for example, my webinar today, you could just click on that one. And then my YouTube channel where all of my videos are, like all my free trainings go on my YouTube. So you can subscribe to my YouTube. And then here is the very first one is the breakup group or break the breakup group. Break the procrastination barrier. There it is. So there's my Eventbrite. It's $7. And I have to tell you, there is a psychological reason for having a price on something. Your brain will look at things differently and take it that much more seriously when there is a monetary price. There's been lots of research on this. And so as a life coach, I am helping you learn what it feels like to invest in yourself. Okay. Does anyone have any? Oh, Lisa, you signed up. That's amazing. Great. Okay, Peggy, go and sign up now. That's so fun. So good. Oh, Lisa, I miss you. All right. So this is my what time? Okay, so Saturday, how it works is the doors will open on Saturday for the pop-up group. You can just casually go in and out of there. And then class starts Monday, and it will be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific. So, and if there are some days you can't make it, the course will be recorded and put on, it will be put in the group. It will live in the group for a week. Okay. Now, this is an incredible, so if you liked what you heard today in my training, if you liked the way that I was approaching things and I explained things and I was able to help engage you in your brain, if you felt like I was describing your life, you will love, I don't know what time, like probably 9 in the morning we'll start. You will love my Love Yourself Thin program. Now, in my Love Yourself Thin program, so it's $3,000. You can sign up by going to www.darathomason/contact-lyt/, or you can just DM me and say, Dara, let's meet. I want to pay. I want in. Okay. So what you're going to learn in my Love Yourself Thin program is you're going to learn the 5-step process of how I help my clients lose weight. Now, Lisa's on here. I don't know, like it's been so much fun to watch. There's a lot of ladies on here who are in my program already. And I think Lisa, within like the first time she did the program, I think she lost up to 30 pounds. Am I right, Lisa? So exciting. And we lose weight in a way that you would never expect. We literally you're following my 5-step process where you learn that weight loss science is simple. You learn how to create your own protocol so nobody's telling you what to do. You learn how to fail and how to build because you are not afraid of emotions anymore. You actually learn from emotions on how emotions help you and you don't have to buffer away from them. We do a lot of work in buffering. We learn to create a future us. So we learn how to set goals. We learn not to be afraid of that. And so, of course, in my process, when we learned about the perfectionism, procrastination, and people pleasing, we really learn about what does it mean to get our own back. So my process really does help you take the kind of life that you have right now, look at it in a new way. And of course, the first section is about weight loss. But currently, I have a group where some of the clients in the group, they've already lost weight and they don't really have a lot of weight to lose. But what they do need to do is they need to stop buffering with online shopping. They need to stop people pleasing. They need to stop with the perfectionism. They need to start living a life where they feel more joyful. They want to be spending more time sewing and creating and being in delayed gratification rather than the delayed gratification. And when they're in a group environment, we eliminate shame and blame. So what you're going to learn is my 5-step process, which is in my 12-week tried and true content with carefully created worksheets. So like I said, I'm very good with curriculum. I'm very good at understanding how the human works and learning that process. And I walk you through that all the steps of the way. Now, in order to really, and so that is $3,000. So you can go to darathomason.com/contact-lyt, love yourself thin / or if, if you're on my email list, you get the link and you can just sign up. If you also want to meet with me, I offer 20-minute consults, 30-minute consults, and we can really talk about it and see what's really going on for you. And one of the things that I saw when I was writing my program and everything, I thought, how could I make this so much better for my clients? How can I help them to really make long-lasting changes? So a lot of the women that come in my program have a lot of shame. They're really unconfident. They've had a lot of past failure. They haven't really been connected to their bodies. And because they have so much shame, they're not used to being even open to exploring what's going on. So one of the ways that I really have been able to work through that is I offer weight loss in a group program. And this group is a place for you to feel safe. And it's a place for you to learn and to grow and to realize for the first time that there are so many other women that struggle with exactly the same thing that you struggle with. And so when you can feel that burden lifted off your shoulder, like maybe I'm not broken, maybe I'm not, like maybe that's not even true, like that good enough story, maybe I actually am good enough. Maybe I can actually do this. I mean, it's for one thing for me to say, because I actually truly did believe that I was not good enough. That was the story I kept telling myself, and I still come across that at different levels. But it's a little bit harder for you to take it from me because like I have the thin body now and I have had the process. But when you have other people in the group that are always struggling with that, it can be so powerful, such a game changer. So I love that when you join my program, you get into a group, a beautiful group of women, and you just get to be with them. So that is a beautiful part. And depending on your comfort level, you can decide how much you reach out or not, and it's okay. All right. So the next thing I have is the group coaching calls. So in order to actually apply the tools that I teach in my program, I'm just going to go over a little over time, just explaining my process to you. So for those of you who are interested in signing up, I love that you're on here. And so the group coaching calls, basically what that means is you get an opportunity to be coached. You get an opportunity to see what it's like to learn how to use the tools. I want all of my clients to learn the tools that I teach them. So this way they have the opportunity to be coached and then to also watch other people being coached. So they can see these tools in action. So another real thought that I put into making my program so effective and so efficient, like I guarantee you will lose 12 pounds in 12 weeks. When you do the things that all you have to do is come to 2 out of 3 classes. You have 3 thought downloads a week and 3 models a week. And then there's my 3-step process of losing 1 to 2 pounds a week, which I won't share because it's in the program. And if you do those things, I guarantee you will lose 12 pounds, minimum 12 pounds, or your money back. Okay. Then, as I discussed, the triple P was such a big issue that I actually have created my 12-step perfection recovery program. And as a signing bonus today, my next group starts May 3rd. I will mail this to you. You also get a digital copy, but I will send you your own physical copy. It's beautifully bound and printed and so beautiful. And we actually have a call every Monday at 9 with everyone I'm working with. They all come to that call and we work through step by step by step. It literally is a recovery program. Okay. And we do it workshop style. So it's very interactive, as in for the next 1 minute, write your feelings on this, the next 2 minutes, so that there's not a forced communication with anybody, but I am engaging your brain and really helping you to dig and explore. Another thing that I have done is when I had my one-on-one clients, every month we chose a different theme. And so we went into hormones like menopause and perimenopause, and I hired a specialist to come and she shared so much with us. I have my time management course. I have an intensive on buffering. I have so many deep dive courses that are available. And this is the first time I'm opening it up to my group. And so it's like Netflix, it's amazing. Worksheets, coaching, instruction, all of it. It's all open to you now that you can really take this that much deeper, because I really want you to all take all of this and apply it to yourself. Another thing that I have implemented in my program, which is actually new, is every week. So everyone is going to get a Google Doc sheet, and every week you're going to report your weight. It's just going to be for me and you, so we can have that one-on-one. And at the beginning of the program, I have 2 worksheets that talk about your goals, and you're going to update me every week on your goals. So, and then mid coaching, so about week 6, you will have a 20-minute input meeting with me, just so we can check in on your goals. And the last thing that I have done, because of the sensitivity that comes with weight loss, there are a lot of women who have extra weight on because either they have been raped or they have been victimized in some way. And so unconsciously, quite often, and sometimes consciously, they keep weight on their bodies as a way to protect themselves and to stay safe from men or others. And so there have been times for my clients who have had very sensitive issues that aren't appropriate in a group. Even though the group is very, very safe, I totally respect and honor that. And so you do have access to office hours with me. Okay. So, and the very last thing that I did to really make my program so foolproof and so helpful is that you have access to me on the Facebook group. You say, Dara, I need coaching on this. And obviously I sleep, and it's not 24/7. I don't really check on Sundays and not very often on Saturdays, but literally the idea is there that I can always access Dara and she will always get to me, and you always know that you can. Okay. So because I'm so dedicated to helping you have this success, these are all the supports in place for my program. So my program is $3,000. It is a 12-week program. It is Monday twice, and Wednesdays. We have an amazing group that you will belong to. You have access to me. You have so many resources for $3,000. And it is money back guarantee. When you do the fine print, you will lose minimum 12 pounds, and then you learn the process of completing it over and over and over again. So there is no reason why you wouldn't have success. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about my program, about anything that I'm offering? What happens if you get in the program and you are not able to participate at the time, the weekly group meeting, because they work? Okay. So good question, Peggy. We can always work things out. I have some ladies who have only, they don't get to come very often to the group, but everything is in replay. I have an incredible virtual assistants. They're always there to help you. What I would do, Peggy, is I would have a time where you and I can talk and we can work that out. Because some ladies, they can't. Okay. So if you want that, if we want to work the guarantee, then all we would do is say, watch the program, did the thing, I just started to do the program because I know for myself, especially after working with so many women, they have spent so much money on so many other programs that are set up for them to just keep signing up and not have success. Like, I'm creating you to have independence. I always think you need a life coach because we're humans. And I always want all my ladies to keep being in the groups because it's such an incredible gift they're giving themselves. But I am teaching you autonomy on food, and then I'm teaching you how to be autonomous in your life. So that's why I always want my ladies to keep going over and over. So we can talk about that. I had another thought. Yes. So to have a consult with me, I have a Calendly link. Makes sense. Yeah, totally. And then we can meet. I do have some time this afternoon that I can meet with ladies. And so that would be really fun. What else do I wanted to say? No age. We have no age limit. I've had some ladies who are 85 in the program and they've lost weight and they've had success. So one of the things that I find what happens to the ladies in my group is we take care of food. Food has its place. And then we start living our life. Okay. Who else has signed up? Has anyone else signed up? I love it. Okay. I'm so excited. All right, ladies, I'm going to go. But I want you to know that procrastination does not have to plague you any longer. And for $7, you can go to be in my pop-up group. If you can't figure out the link, don't worry. Just message me. I will send you the link. It's not a problem. And then you can experience what it feels like to have a life coach, what it feels like to be in a group where you learn from others, what it feels like to actually start believing that you can change your life. I didn't even really tell you my story, but I have lost 50 pounds and kept that weight off for over 2 years, 3 years, 2.5, 3 years. I started in 2018 when I started my weight loss journey with my life coach. And I have taken it off. I have had so much success in my life, my relationships, my life has just improved so much more because I am living the life that I want. I was an international quilting instructor. I still will do some quilting. Actually, tonight I'm teaching a free motion quilting class online. It's a virtual quilting bee. I have published books. I have done so much with my life. And I'm a mom of 5 kids. And I live on Vancouver Island. Like, I love to say it. I'm like, I live on an island and I have 5 kids. And I am literally making my own dreams come true every day. Just this week, I was on a podcast with my business coach, and I have been planning that for over 2 years. And I literally make my own dreams come true, and I am literally making my clients' dreams come true. It's so much fun. All right, I love you, ladies. I cannot wait to see you at our pop-up group on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. You need to tell your friends. You need to tell everybody, you've got to come to this pop-up group. It's going to be so fun. We're going to learn about procrastination. We're going to have tactical, practical tools to change what we're doing in our lives. And I would love to have you join my Love Yourself Thin 12 pounds in 12 weeks program starting May 3rd. It'll be the best decision you make for yourself. All right, take care, everyone. Bye-bye.